Nerdrotic.com.
Once again, it is time to talk about the Star Trek Discovery plagiarism lawsuit, brought to you by Anas Abdin, the creator of Tardigrades, which is a point-and-click adventure game on Steam, created in 2014, and it is important that you remember this date. Now, I have promised Anas that I would do a monthly reminder because we have a lot of new people here, and welcome to all the new subscribers. And you may not know that Star Trek Discovery might have been stolen, might have been plagiarized from Anas Abdin, and there is a lot of evidence to prove this. First off, he created the giant blue tardigrade first. You know, that giant blue tardigrade that travels instantaneously through time and space. Well, coincidentally enough, Star Trek Discovery Season 1 features a giant blue tardigrade that helps the starship Discovery travel instantaneously through time and space. What a coincidence! Well, there's other similarities as well, and we will go over them as we go over the timeline of the Star Trek Discovery plagiarism lawsuit. As I have stated before, I am not Tim Pool, I am not a news organization or a reporter, but I do try to look out for the independent creator because I am one myself, and I do try to have the backs of the fans. So I will say to all independent creators, when you are creating an original work, especially these days, always have a log of it. Make sure it is time-stamped. As you can see here on Anas's devlog, Adventure Game Studio, on May 8th, 2014, this game has been greenlit by the community. The community has shown their interest in this game. Valve has reached out to this developer to start moving things toward release on Steam. My guess is the game was actually being developed long before May 8, 2014 when it was greenlit on Steam, so one would assume that the giant blue tardigrade that travels instantaneously in time and space was developed prior to that, but that is his timestamp, and it's one to remember. CBS All Access was launched on October 28th, 2014, and a year and a half after Anas Abdin had announced his Tardigrade game, CBS announced a new Star Trek series would premiere on their CBS All Access streaming service on November 2nd, 2015. At the time, this was looked at as a big gamble, but CBS All Access, which was fledgling at the time, needed something to bring people to their streaming service. So production got started, and Alex Kurtzman had hired Bryan Fuller as the showrunner, but that didn't last long and Fuller was ousted. It's important to hear how he was ousted though, and how much he actually developed. He originally pitched Star Trek Discovery as an anthology show like American Horror Story, but it turned into a scripted series prequel. Bryan Fuller was fired October 26, 2016. Star Trek Discovery had been delayed twice. It was supposed to premiere in January of 2017, then moved to May 2017, and eventually premiered in September of 2017. But CBS tried to insinuate that Bryan Fuller would stay involved. We are extremely happy with the creative direction of Star Trek Discovery and the strong foundation that Bryan Fuller has helped us create for the series, producers CBS Television Studios said at the time. Due to Bryan's other projects, he is no longer able to oversee the day-to-day of Star Trek, but he remains an executive producer and will continue to map out the story arc for the entire season. But following that statement by CBS, Bryan Fuller a couple months later clarified that Bryan Fuller on Star Trek Discovery, I'm not involved. This is very important because we are talking about the timeline of the creation of the giant blue tardigrade and other characters in Star Trek Discovery. And it certainly doesn't look like Bryan Fuller had anything to do with the giant blue tardigrade that traveled in time and space. There was reportedly a tardigrade character. It was anthropomorphic, and it talked, and it wasn't blue, and it wasn't giant, and it didn't travel instantaneously through time and space. In the meantime, you could see Anas posting on his YouTube page trailers for Tardigrades. So, we get to Star Trek Discovery premiering. This from Wikipedia. Star Trek Discovery premiered on September 19, 2017 at ArcLight Hollywood before debuting on CBS and CBS All Access on September 24th. The rest of the 15-episode first season was streamed weekly on All Access. And this is where things start to get interesting. I first heard about it because I covered every episode live, and I started hearing about it, I believe, in the 5th or 6th episode. People started chirping up in my live stream saying that this show might have been plagiarized from a Steam game. Well, Anas Abdin started hearing about it right around the same time, according to these messages that Anas provided to me. And I can't imagine what was going through Anas's mind when he's hearing his friends going, "Dude, are you watching Star Trek Discovery? Oh my God, Skype now." It's literally your game Tardigrades made into a show. Are you writing for Star Trek Discovery now? Speaking of the Spore Drive, I couldn't help but think of Anas Abdin when watching it. The Discovery Spore Drive is Tardigrades powered. And there it sat for a while. A couple of YouTubers did a video on it. It was certainly mentioned a lot, like I said, in my live streams and consistently in the comment section. I could give you examples till the end of time. Then came the infamous blog post from Anas, his first blog post concerning Star Trek Discovery and Tardigrades. I have been approached lately by some of my fans via Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and the AGS forums about several similarities between the new series Star Trek Discovery and my point-and-click adventure game Tardigrades. I honestly don't know how to begin this article, so I prepared a few screenshots from both the TV show and my game for comparison. I am doing this to clarify that I haven't stolen ideas from the show at all, since all of my posts from the devlog are dated years before the show. Briefly, the other similarities besides the giant blue tardigrade that travels instantaneously through time and space are Yolanda and Michael Burnham, Aziz and Dr. Hugh Calder, Maciak and Paul Stamets, who are both in a relationship, and Natasha and Sylvia Tilly. And there's also a giant ancient beacon that is used in Tardigrades, and there's also a giant ancient beacon used in Star Trek Discovery. What a coincidence! And that's where it sat. But lawyers reached out to Anas and he hired some. And apparently there was some communications between Anas and CBS. But the communications were very one-sided, as detailed in Anas's next infamous blog post. Tuesday, August 21st, 2018 Tardigrades case. I wanted to keep you updated regarding the Tardigrades and Star Trek Discovery post from October 18th, 2017. First of all, I want to thank everyone who posted videos, articles, and even talked about the issue on their social media. The last 10 months were so hard on me and the development of the project. I tried every possible way to have a respectful and reasonable discussion with CBS, but they treated me in disrespect and just dangled me around with postponed meetings due to their vacations and being busy. The first conversation turned out to be the last one. I gave them a lot of time to make things right. Unfortunately, I found myself at a dead end with them, so I had to enforce my rights by filing a lawsuit to treat me seriously. And how badly did CBS treat Anas Abdin with these obvious similarities, to me anyway? They responded with this. This from the Danish Sci-Fi News. I was hoping they would talk to me about the situation and that we would find out how it happened. They talked to me, but all they said was they would stop using the tardigrades in the future and they would not sue me. The phone call was very short as they were very busy on their vacation. Now, the reason I make these videos is because it is very underreported. Prior to the lawsuit, only Rock, Paper, Shotgun had interviewed Anas Abdin. And it's not like the trades don't report on plagiarism. They do it all the time. But why aren't they reporting on this case? Is it being suppressed? I don't know. At least I have to give YouTube some credit. It's not being suppressed here. They have allowed our videos to go out there, and that is a credit to YouTube. So thank you very much. I know YouTube gets a lot of heat, and they have lately, but they at least have allowed this to get out there to the people, and I am going to continue doing it until this case is resolved. So let's get to what's happened after this. First of all, we got to give some credit to the Metro because on August 30th, 2018, by JJ Natress, they did indeed report on the plagiarism lawsuit. So well done, Metro. On Saturday, November 17th, 2018, Anas posted his amendment adding a couple of companies. I'm not too sure if this is when Netflix and other CBS companies were added, but that was done. The law is clear and straightforward. If you infringe on someone's intellectual property, you will have to stop the infringement act immediately. And if you profit from the infringed work, you'll have to pass the profits to the original creator. I wasn't really aware of the latter. Thankfully, my lawyers know how much effort I have put into the development of Tardigrades, and they know all the hard circumstances circling my personal life, finding time for the game development. So they wanted to make sure I get all my rights to keep my project alive and maintain its originality. And I would like to point out that Anas is an Egyptian. He does not live in the United States. And at the time, he was taking care of two very elderly, sick parents while working a full-time job, while working on his game, which was his release for this. His father recently passed, and of course, the trolls came out. Now, I wouldn't call them Star Trek fans, because I don't even think people who like Star Trek Discovery would stoop so low. But that was my last video. Please check out the card above. The next post from earlier this year, Thursday, January 3rd, 2019. And this one is rich. Now, I'm not going to read it all to you. I'll try to sum it up as best as I can, and I am not a lawyer, but CBS moved for a dismissal based on scenes afar. So what's scenes afar? Well, basically, a gunfight in a cowboy movie is scenes affair. They're pretty common. They tried to claim that the giant blue tardigrade that travels instantaneously in time and space is scenes affair in science fiction, meaning it's commonly used. Remember that time Luke Skywalker fought a giant blue time-traveling tardigrade? Remember that time you saw a giant blue time-traveling tardigrade in Lost in Space? Remember when the Terminator fought a giant blue tardigrade? Yeah, freaking ridiculous. Wednesday, January 9th, 2019, Discovery ordered for Star Trek Discovery. Star Trek Discovery claims for frivolous lawsuit has no steam. Well played, sir. Yesterday, January 8th, the judge had a pre-trial hearing in her courtroom with all lawyers involved. The meeting resulted in a very positive outcome that helped find the truth and serve justice. The defendant's request to dismiss the case based on it being a frivolous claim was not entertained by the judge. Apparently, the defendants kept claiming Anas said he owned the copyright to the tardigrade, which he never said he did. The judge set the timeline for summary judgment motion, which means that the defendant's attempt to dismiss the case is limited to actual legal defects instead of generic claims. The judge also gave us discovery, which means that we can request and the defendants are compelled to provide information to support our case. The discovery order was only one-sided, which means that the defendants cannot request information from us. Finally, the judge granted us the third amended complaint as of right. This means we no longer need expressed permission from the defendants to file the third complaint. In the game developer versus game player post from Wednesday, March 6, 2019, yesterday, March 5, 2019, I filed the opposition to the defendant's motion to dismiss. Simply, I'm arguing why their motion to dismiss the case is not valid. Note that when the judge gave us the discovery right to get information from CBS about their Steam accounts, they haven't met their deadlines, and we still did not get anything from them, but they are still trying to dismiss the case based on scenes affair, based on the tardigrade being commonly used, and based on the accusation that Anas is trying to copyright the actual tardigrade, which he actually isn't doing. They are still insisting that I'm trying to own copyrights to the real-life tardigrade creature on Earth. I never claimed I did. They are omitting everything regarding its size, color, and usage in facilitating instantaneous space travel. They are trying hard to say that the tardigrade is public domain and scenes afar, scenes that necessarily result from the choice of setting or situation, meaning that any space-themed production may use them due to their ability to survive in space. My legal complaint was and is never about tardigrade's ability to survive in space, as they are trying to say. My complaint is simply about the fictional giant blue tardigrade that are used in instantaneous space travel. There's also somewhat of an omission. They are admitting access and copying for this one motion, but they say they're copying the allowable amount because their tardigrade is shown in a few scenes while the entire show is about 11 hours long. They are saying that their tardigrade doesn't have a major role in the show, in the story. I would like to ask these questions to everyone who watched the show, which I unfortunately did. What would season 1 of Star Trek Discovery look like without the tardigrades and its DNA's help to jump instantaneously from one place to another? How would they jump to another dimension? How did they win the war against the Klingons? And while they were away from our dimension, didn't the Klingons take over big portions of the galaxy because the tardigrade technology wasn't available? Yes, yes, and yes. So Discovery was granted. CBS tried everything to stall this or sidetrack it or dismiss it, but then we get the next post. On March 23rd, 2019, Protectable. Let me mention some facts. Now please bear with me, as what you are about to read is not going to sound logical at all, except to CBS's lawyer, Wook Wang, and Jonathan Zavin. Number 1, first, they argued that they did nothing wrong and that my complaint, the lawsuit, is frivolous, which the court later ruled in my favor for this part. Number 2, then they partially admitted access and copying, but they copied the de minimis, the allowable amount, and scenes afar, common scenes in a specific genre or theme. Right. Number 3, then they argued, and I can't believe I'm saying this, that what they copied has no similarities. Number 4, and finally, they are now saying that they did not copy because we came up with our ideas independently. And that's where it stands right now, and this might be news to you because it's not being reported in Deadline or The Hollywood Reporter or any of the access media. Why? Because they live in fear of CBS? They're trying to suppress this? I'm not sure, but it shows that they have outlived their usefulness. But credit where credit is due. Bounding into Comics has reported on this. Also, my fellow YouTubers, Midnight's Edge After Dark, Overlord DVD, and Mecha Random 42, and Robert Meyer Burnett have all talked about this. So thank you for doing that, and we will continue to support Anas Abdin. I mean, how would you like it if you woke up one morning and found out that a billion-dollar corporation, in my opinion, had ripped off your passion project, your idea that you worked on while you were taking care of 2 sick parents, while you were working a full-time job? Yeah, that would feel pretty crappy. So look at Anas as a human being and this giant inhuman corporation pushing this guy around, bullying this guy around, and props to Anas for not backing down. Everybody, please like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day, and may the free folks sing songs of your greatness.
Nerderotic.com. Please subscribe.